So there's not only conservative groups in the right wing arena, um, but there's also extremist conservative groups or extremist groups. But some of these groups, we have to be on the lookout because they pose a threat. So there has been leaked documents that indicate over 300 members of a far-right paramilitary Oath Keepers may be current or former DHS employees, Department of Homeland Security, Project on Government Oversight reports. So this is by Charles R. Davis. So how does this affect us? Well, members of the Oath Keepers, a far-right group, patrol the streets of Ferguson, Missouri. This is after the unrest over the police shooting of the black teen Michael Brown. This was in 2015. Now, a leaked membership list suggests that the Oath Keepers have infiltrated the Department of Homeland Security. So there's more than 300 members of the paramilitary. And so the groups describe themselves as current or former Department of Homeland Security employees. So DHS did not immediately respond to requests for the comment. So just weeks after Oath Keepers founder Stuart Rhodes was convicted of seditious conspiracy for trying to violently overturn the 2020 election, a leak of paramilitary groups' membership list has revealed that potentially hundreds of far-right extremists have infiltrated federal law enforcement and the Project on the Government Oversight. And so this is really serious because these people can be violent, they carry military weapons, and they will use them. So launched in 2009, the Oath Keepers from the start tried to recruit from the military and law enforcement as well, with an ostensible goal of upholding the U.S. Constitution and having its members refuse unlawful orders per the Southern Poverty Law Center, so which labels it an extremist group. And I used that word before I started the article, so you can kind of get an idea. Some of you probably already know, and then those of you that don't, extremist group, they go to the far extreme, the far right extreme. And even if it means killing innocent people. So in practice, that has meant, as on January 6th, rejecting the rule of law, court orders, and democratic process, and thwart far-right policy goals in favor of conspiracy theories and armed resistance as well. And so they can walk the streets with these weapons, and you don't know when one of them is going to be angry and decides to use their weapon when there's a protest or something having to do with political issues. So more than a decade of recruitment has led to a group to collect at least 306 members who have described themselves as current or former employees of the Department of Homeland Security. According to Pogo, which previewed the leaked membership documents from the group in a partnership with the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project. So, Department of Homeland Security agencies include U.S. Customs, Immigration Service, Transportation Security Administration, the U.S. Secret Service. So, this should really hit home. I'm adding this in here. It's very troubling. You rely and trust in these people that do these services, and they yet could be a part of these extremist groups. So most of the self-described Department of Homeland Security employees asserted that they were retired, but at least one claimed to be active duty in the Secret Service agent. As a Secret Service agent, another said that they were a supervisor with Border Patrol. Think about it. Make the connections. Let's connect the dots. So according to the documents reviewed by Pogo. And so, the full membership list, which Insider reported on in September, includes more than 38,000 names. So you have Rachel Carol Rivas, Deputy Director of Research Reporting and Analysis at the SPLC Intelligence Project, said Oath Keepers succeeded at presenting themselves publicly as a constitutionalist group, but that it was always extremist and conspiracy-minded, seeking out law enforcement and military recruits for the perceived credibility that it would lend an otherwise fringe organization. But it also targeted veterans and police. So, because of the skill set that they have to prove they're useful in an armed struggle. So that's a real manipulation tactic to target people for a particular skill and then bring them into a violent and ideology movement. This is said by Carol Rivas, said in an interview. So they apparently enjoy success among the ranks of the Department of Homeland Security. Unfortunately, not surprising. She added, citing that the department's role in policing immigration, a top border patrol agent has promoted far-right replacement theory. And so, I don't know if you heard that saying come up, the far-right, the replacement theory. So that has come up. That's also why they said that the Parkland shooter, he had practiced or believed that there was a replacement theory. I believe there were some other shooters that had believed in that theory. While the ICE union endorsed former President Donald Trump and the founding in the wake of 9/11 terrorist attacks, a time that heightened Islamophobia. The nature of its work and the overt sympathies of some of its members has made it a more receptive target for extremist recruiting. This is said or argued Carol Rivas. So it was flawed from the get-go, and it continues to be flawed, she says. So the Department of Homeland Security did not immediately respond for requests for comment. So the revelation of a possible far-right infiltration in the federal law enforcement comes after the Department of Defense last year issued a report detailing its own efforts to combat such extremist activity within its own ranks. Under guidance issued last December, soldiers are now prohibited from being active members of an extremist group or sharing their content on social media as well. So it also follows the FBI warning. So there's an FBI warning out that the white supremacists continue to pose the primary threat of lethal domestic terrorism, according to this, accounting for more than half of all politically motivated killings over the last decade.